Welcome back to Lost Odyssey. So now it's time to go to Tosca Village.
I would like to use this moment to mention something that I wanted to mention in the previous part. Honestly, I argue, in regards to Blue Dragon, that outside of a weird tone, the structure of a basic plot is not that much different from the stuff that Sakaguchi normally wrote. It's just the fact that it treats itself seriously. But my point is back to what you mentioned in the previous part. I can't believe Sakaguchi wrote it. That's my point.
Yeah. Like, I'll be honest, I never got anything feeling like Blue Dragon was out of his wheelhouse. Like, it feels like something he could have made, just something that was more kid-oriented in its visuals.
It's just
or
because
I guess one could say more
sure.
It's possible that someone else added instead the facets of the tone which didn't work. So that's my point.
Oh, I understand that. The reason I'm so bothered by Blue Dragon is because the execution and quality of said storytelling is so beneath him, though. It's so beneath him.
To be fair, let's not forget he did direct The Spirits Within, so
yeah, but
it's not like Blue Dragon was his first.
Sure, keep in mind, as I speculated for that one, it might be a similar thing where he wrote the original concept, but because of the dilution, outsourcing animation that took way too long and had to cut corners, and outsourcing to 2 American writers, it's possible that what we got is a heavily diluted version of his vision.
Mm-hmm. Now that I can don't worry, there's nothing going on. That I can understand. But Blue Dragon has far less of an excuse for that because, as far as we're aware, Microsoft didn't really meddle into that game's development. Again, if they had, we probably would have heard about it by now.
As we ourselves speculated, it might be possible that what he did, like he said, when he did wrote it, he was mostly focusing instead on this one.
I don't know. Again, sorry, go on.
I would find it ironic that he was focusing more on this than the big project between him and flipping Akira Toriyama, but to be fair, I'm not in the guy's head, so maybe this was more his passion project.
Yeah.
That being said, all of that is admittedly speculation. What we do know for certain is he was in charge of these products, and they didn't turn out as good as his usual work.
I guess so. I guess not everybody's as good at multitasking as Hino, because remember, Hino wrote at the same time Miracle Mask and Ni no Kuni 1, and both games came out great, so it's just one of those things. I guess Sakaguchi's not good at multitasking.
I wonder if Miracle Mask... Oh, I wonder if those two were easier to balance because Miracle Mask was a smaller game to work on.
And also it was delayed due to having to restructure with the 3D.
This is a good scene.
Too, yeah.
But I've heard he's very wise.
So this village is apparently where Kaim came from.
Yeah, they know Kaim.
Yes.
So it's one of the many visited.
Both him and Sarah used to live here.
Wow, that hit the spot. You know, I'm finally starting to feel at home.
When you're drunk.
Pardon?
Are you even
I mean, I can relate to that.
There's a time and a place for that stuff. And
well, no, getting plastered at shit.
Tell me, is it really true you can't drink?
Yes.
Oh.
That is so
Why, is
sad.
alcohol like poison to her?
I mean, don't you have wine or champagne at parties?
Maybe she has like an incredibly low tolerance to the point where it will just destroy her liver.
I don't remember if Immortals are affected by alcohol because I might have the faint memory that one of the, dreams I did mention that Kaim was getting drunk as shit too.
Mm-hmm.
It won't kill you, I promise. In fact,
imagine, one side effect to being immortal, you get eternal hangovers when you drink.
Yeah, it's like, I was like, I know it's like in Captain Scarlet, the main character's basically immortal except
Bottoms up.
to high voltage electricity.
Chug.
Except
All
to
right.
high voltage electricity. Is it like the same here but with alcohol?
I don't know.
Let's see what
I don't
happens.
No, it's just I've never tasted anything like it before.
They didn't even give you wine in your court. Holy shit.
No,
I guess Kakanis really wanted her to be the perfect puppet.
I'll manage to drink it.
And was afraid that any drink might make her rebellious.
Because you're wondering, Drova, no, this does not unlock a memory for her.
Imagine.
That would be hilarious.
Is she gonna drink it and start doing hot takes?
are you, okay?
Whew. I feel very lightheaded all of a sudden.
Oh no, you've awoken the beast.
I fucking hate my kingdom!
Oh.
Wow, she is a lightweight. So
I hope Jensen did not put anything extra in her mug.
No, he did not.
he's not a creep like that.
Remember, that was the whole point.
Again with this shit.
Remember, that was the whole point of that scene where Ming tested him with the whole bird thing.
Yeah.
We was having a serious discussion about, what's going to happen.
Also,
next.
I don't think I didn't know this game. It's another case of someone thinking someone else is killed when there is sleep. Again, I don't understand what's fictional media's fascination with these trophies.
Well, I can tell you that when I see my wife sleeping, I find it cute. So...
I'll give you the benefit of
Sure, no, okay, maybe I get it if it's, for a long time relationship and it's been going on, but a lot of times this is used as a fire starter, as in a thing of, oh, that means I feel an attraction for this person. Every time we encounter it in fictional media, it's always portrayed as almost super creepy.
Let me put it this way. Here's my take on it. Okay, here's the thing. Yes, obviously, I can understand the whole, it can potentially lead to something else, and that's what makes it creepy. Here's the thing. And this is just my opinion, if all a character does is say, in a non-sexual way, look at that, she looks cute when she sleeps, and that's all he does, and that's it, that's where the statement ends, and nothing comes from it, that in itself is fine, in my opinion. Like, there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. Like, if that's all that person is trying to say, and again, from Jensen's perspective, yes, he's attracted to the queen, but that particular scene didn't come across as creepy to me. It just felt like Jensen being goofy, as he always is, honestly.
To give my own 2 cents on the matter here, yeah, a lot of times it's just stuff can look adorable when it sleeps. Like, think about it like, with a pet or a dog, or again, someone you just feel affection to, or heck, even a friend, you can say they look cute when they sleep. Sometimes it's even used as a joke for how somebody is more pleasant when they're asleep than when they're awake, essentially. So, I don't find it inherently creepy. Now, the idea for when it is creepy is, say, something like Planes 2, where it's clearly a stalker after the protagonist.
That's the thing, Jova. If all she did was say that she watches it in his sleep, that would already. But the way she says it in that movie is already bad. But she also fills up his ass in that movie, basically.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't you guys told me that she basically molests him?
Basically, yeah.
You will believe that a plane can get sexually assaulted.
I really get the feeling that people who made that movie realized that nobody was going to care or watch that movie, so they saw that as an excuse to do whatever the fuck they wanted.
Is it speculation, but is it possible that someone was trying to shed a message about John Lasseter in any way they could?
Honestly,
that would be quite a cry for help, but an elaborate one.
Well, yeah.
That one Family Guy gag where Steve will basically
or the
what Kevin Spacey was going to be,
or the beginning of Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah.
Hey, further speculation. Do you think maybe that movie inspired Sunderplane made by Toby Fox?
Anyway, here's someone who's an old acquaintance of Kaim.
Kaim.
If you don't mind my saying so, you've aged really well.
Ooh, the frame rate.
Thanks, honey. Drink up. This is on the house.
He sounds like Clancy Brown going for a barkeep voice.
I was only 7 when you saved the village, but I remember you as if it were yesterday.
But for me, it was
Does
Tuesday.
sounds a bit like Clancy Brown.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has Clancy Brown ever voiced in an RPG before?
I cannot remember for the time being.
I'm gonna
propend to know.
Aside from, I guess, doing Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob games, the only major video game role of it that I can think of is Detroit Become Human.
Well,
Dr.
specifically
Cortex,
for-
Pedro.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about Dr. Cortex. Yeah, you're right.
I was asking specifically about RPGs.
I think it was also a couple of the dragons in the first Pyro game.
I don't know if he's been in any RPGs,
Yeah, I
Jova.
think so.
She's got some serious
I'm gonna check it in the meantime.
Yep, she sure does.
Oh, Baba from Dragon Ball?
It gets better. You know that place where you and Sarah lived? Well, that old sorceress has moved in.
Oh,
Oh,
that's convenient.
My house?
Yes, your house on the hill.
What? Hey, you don't even have a lease agreement?
We kept the place up after you and Sarah went away, so it'd be ready if you ever came back.
Wow, the village really do
I'm
like
afraid
them.
She's made a mess of it. Sorry.
Don't trouble yourself. It saves us the hassle of having to look for her.
That's a good point.
The only thing to do with squatters is run them out.
Well, I think you'll be okay. Just be careful, Kaim.
And then it turns out the old woman is secretly a sorceress.
You're not gonna go off and leave Ming like this, are you?
It's your responsibility now.
We'll head out there tomorrow morning.
Okay, what was with that line read? He sounded like he was drifting in and out of sleep there.
keep Ferguson's reading lines of Kaim is a bit all over the place. I noticed. We're definitely trying to make him, super stoic, but a lot of times the line reading almost seems like he's reading the script.
Hello, travelers. You're familiar with the art of ring assembly, am I right? But you're not satisfied with just any normal assembly, are you? Believe me, we've all been there.
Hi, Stan.
Me, I don't assemble rings with components. I take existing rings and make them even better. And know what else? The rings that I create even have multiple effects. Oh, and I won't charge you a cent either. This is my life's work, you see. So how about it?
How exactly do you make ends meet, then?
Magic.
Ah, of course. Magic. Multi-angular something or another. But, let me just, actually no. I'll go carry on.
I found in the meantime, checking just on IMDb, so it's probably something it's uncreated. The one video game RPG video game role that I found from Clancy Brown are two for a Western, if I recall correctly, RPG series, which is called Lands of Lore, which was done by Westwood Studios, I think.
Hands of Lore.
I never heard it until searching it now. It's apparently an EA IP.
Which means it's dead.
Yeah.
Shoot, yeah, EA really aren't doing any RPGs these days, are they?
Well, technically Dragon Age, but that game is already getting a lot of flack from fans because it doesn't look at anything like a Dragon Age game.
And BioWare at this point is basically a shadow of itself. So.
Yeah.
Alas.
He gave me this as a keepsake. It's really valuable to us, but it's what you used to put in our village, right? So here, Kaim, I want to return it to you. So basically everybody in this village, even the younger ones, have heard of Kaim because he's super duper popular. Everybody loves him here.
My God, a village of NPCs that respects our deeds and rewards us without making us pay for it?
It's also a good justification of you raiding their stuff in the closet. So, I mean, they have such respect for you, but they probably don't mind.
Sure, Kaim, come here and take all my stuff, my food.
Here, take my kids even. They are yours to help with your quest.
I think we mentioned in one of the early parts, but if you're wondering about the statue of those creatures, they're basically the, not mascots, but the recurring, cutesy type of species of monster for this game alone. It's the equivalent kinda to the Boogos or the Cactuars. Or Tomberries, I guess.
Alright, so the basic gist of the treasure hunting set, they'll give you a map, which basically means you can find hidden treasures. Basically, the game will give you a glowing point, like it just said, means you can search for it in the nearby area, basically. You can increase the output of the magic-powered locator, enabling you to find a lot more treasure than with a level 1 locator, so basically you can also upgrade it. So basically, think of it as a more convoluted way of the item finder from Pokemon, basically.
Goody.
Oh, here we go. I did my fair share of battles, but one day, just as I was swinging my sword at someone, I suddenly thought, man, I wish I could have been a baker.
A warrior who wishes he were a baker.
It's not too uncommon to...
I have no idea how a thought like that came to me, but after that battle, I quit the army. I made my living baking bread ever since.
It's not uncommon is a troll job, I believe.
And this, of course, triggers a memory from Kaim.
This reminds Kaim of when he was a baker.
That would be hilarious.
A dream has been revealed.
Honestly, when you're an immortal, I presume you just go for all the jobs at some point.
Mm-hmm. The hero was home from the war. He had performed gallantly on the battlefield, advanced to the rank of general, and made a triumphal entry into his village of his birth. The villagers welcomed him with a festive celebration. The grown-ups here treated to drinks beginning in the afternoon, and the children received sweet confections. The cattle and sheep in the pastures that support the village's livelihood, whether because they were excited by the unusual commotion or welcoming the hero in their own way, sent special shrill cries reverberating into the blue summer sky. This story is called The Hero, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
There goes my hero.
I thought you were gonna sing the I Need a Hero song.
Too obvious, huh?
Yeah, I wanted to save that for a more
I mean, everyone is using that way these days.
Even the Tetris movie of all things.
Go ahead, Jovan.
General, you are the pride of our village.
Obviously full of pride himself, the head of the village thrust out his chest as he delivered this congratulatory address in the welcoming ceremony.
To think that the foremost hero in the army came from this tiny village is so incredibly exhilarating and gratifying. I'm sure our ancestors are overjoyed as well.
The throng crammed into the village square burst forth with cheers and applause. Carry on.
According to the official figures released by the army the other day, General, you've brought down at least 2,000 enemy soldiers with your own hand.
Are they talking about Beatrix? A thunderous roar shook the square.
Sure, you also have the death penalty in 12 systems, sure.
But the numbers don't lie. You're a success.
Go ahead.
Come to think of it, the population of this village is less than 1,000. This means, sir, you managed to bury more than 2 of these villages' worth on your own. How fortunate for us that you are not one of the enemy. And if by any chance there had been a warrior of your caliber on their side, we'd be resting in the hilltop grave by now. Congratulations on mass slaughter.
I fear the women frowned momentarily at this remark, but the men, full of liquor, responded with an explosive laugh. Sitting stage center, the general lightly stroked his dignified beard. No one present knew that this was his habit, however. He was perplexed. When he left his village to join the army, he was just an ordinary soldier, a long way from growing a beard.
Part Springfield's 9th bearded infantry or something.
I guess so.
How did it feel killing all those people that were just trying to surrender?
It was the time that
Go ahead, continue, Joe.
General, you are the savior of our army, and indeed of our entire nation. I understand you will be leaving for another battle tomorrow, but we all hope that you will thoroughly enjoy yourself on this rare visit to your birthplace.
The village chief ended his greetings and withdrew to the wings, whereupon the village's #1 entertainer bounded into the stage in the most comical way he could manage. "Dear General!" he cried, running over to where the great man was seated and going down to his knees. "Oh, hear my plea!" The general looked at him uncertainly. "Is there any possibility that you would lend me a sword at your side, if only for a moment?" Perplexed though he was by all this, the general, impelled by the audience's applause and cheers, handed the man his tasseled and jewel-encrusted sword.
Assuming this
and now you die, little man!
Assuming this is Kaim, I'm now imagining Kaim with a long beard.
No, it's actually someone else. The man bowed deeply as the sword entered his outstretched hand, and again he cried, "My gratitude knows no bounds!" Pretending to stagger under the weight of the sword, he came to the front edge of the stage and held the weapon aloft. "And now, ladies and gentlemen, I will reenact the event that raised our dear general's fame to the heights in a single bound, when he hacked 18 of the enemy into little tiny teeny bits." The audience cheered wildly, and the man, with exaggerated movements and commentary, swung the sword in a great arc. The audience knew exactly what he was doing. The general had not only made a name for himself for his strategic prowess, but also widely acclaimed as a warrior on the battlefield. He did not rely solely on his weapons, but in the end leveled his opponents with his sheer physical strength. This, too, was a matter of the utmost pride for the villagers. So basically, this guy's got it all.
Or does he? Is he?
I mean, according to this narration, he suplexed these victims to death or something.
Yeah.
He's just that awesome.
He's a wrestler.
My God, Dwebs, he used the German suplex on all those soldiers. But anyway, Here we go. 1 man down, 2 men down. Flip the sword back. 3 men down. 4th man slashed diagonally right through the shoulder. 5th man's head goes just flying. Oof. Then 3 once again. 6th, 7th, and 8th man. What a bother. I'll just skewer you like this. The man thrust the sword for 3 imaginary opponents, and the crowd went wild. The general, too, broke into a smile and applauded. When he was through clapping, though, he stroked his beard again.
It sounded like that guy reenacted a cartoony version of Omni Slash. Which probably would, in reality, hack someone up into quite the art project.
Alright, okay. Yeah, go ahead, Whips.
I'm sure you can understand how I felt at the time, sitting up there on that stage.
The old general says to Kaim before taking a sip of water from his leather pouch. His magnificent beard is completely white, so distant already past events that he is recounting. Kaim nods in silence, and the general continues, as if mulling over every word. Go ahead.
The more you know about war, the more you feel that way.
I'm sure the villagers meant well. Just wanted to pay homage to their hometown hero.
No, of course, they weren't being the least bit malicious. My villagers are the nicest people in the world, which is why I found the whole thing so painful. I couldn't stand it after a while.
It was cringe!
Watching a flashback within a flashback.
Sure, why not? Hacking 18 men to bits. The deeds of a hero are related in numbers. Surely the men who playfully swung the general's sword on stage that day could never have imagined the ones who lost their lives on the battlefield. The agonized expressions on their faces, the curse in their eyes as they stared into nothingness. Go ahead, Liz. Sorry.
But that's alright too. People who live peaceful lives don't have to know about such things. That's what people like us are for. To keep their lives far away from the battlefields. Don't you agree? Thanks to us and our killing of enemies, the people we're supposed to protect don't have to know anything about the bloodiness of war.
Unless you believe that.
Unless you believe that.
Sorry.
What's the point of people killing each other?
Kaim says nothing in reply. Without either affirming or negating the old general's words, he stares vaguely at the general's troops.
What'd you say your name is? Kaim? I suppose he killed more enemy soldiers than you could begin to count.
There is no way I could count them all.
I thought so. You have a flawless build, the kind that can only be tempered on the battlefield. Only a man who has survived one battle after another can carry himself the way you do with complete naturalness.
So who's a man like you? Sorry.
No, that's the end.
Got this from driving a horse cart over a mountain pass. Kaim is ready to leave without answering if the old man asks him such a question. But the general inquires no further into Kaim's background. Instead, there is a sense of relief in the smile that he bestows on the sight of Kaim resting his horses at the pass.
And as he leaves, he yells back to the old general, "It's pronounced Kaim, you dick!" I was 16 the first time I went into battle. After that, I just kept running from one thing to another until I made it all the way to Gerald. At first, I remembered the faces of the men I crossed swords with and killed. Even if you don't try to remember them, they get carved into your memory. I had terrible nightmares, and try as I might, I could never seem to wash off the stench of the blood that splashed on my face and hands. That was an hallucination, of course. It got so bad that I spent a whole night in the river trying to wash myself off.
The general paused a moment to think about his story, then went on.
But after a while, you get used to it. You get used to fighting and killing over and over again. Your body and your mind and your heart, you just get used to it. That's how people are. So I stopped having nightmares. I killed all the enemy soldiers I could lay my hands on, and I forgot every one of their faces. It's the same for you now, too. I came, isn't it?
Maybe so.
My damn name wrong.
Go ahead, Liz.
It's like a curse. If you don't get used to it, your heart breaks. On the other hand, if you do get used to it, your heart probably ends up breaking someplace deeper down.
The general casts a fond glance toward his resting troops. Then, slowly shifting his gaze far down to the root of the mountain, he says,
So that's what it was like for me back then, when I returned to my birthplace in triumph.
For the final event in the welcoming ceremony, several children mounted the stage. And now, in honor of our hero, the children will present to the general a floral worth more marvelous than the greatest medal there ever was. The audience went wild again. When the children put the wreath on his neck, the general favored them with a warm smile. The first honest smile from the heart that he had managed since climbing into the stage.
Of course, one thing to bring a smile, the love of a child.
And finally, as a special treat for the general, who has been galloping from one battlefield to the next far from his native place, the children's chosen representative will read his own original composition spelling out the joys of the beautiful life of the village. With a look of grim intensity, a small boy barely old enough to go to school unfolded his composition, and gripping it in two hands, began to read aloud from it, straining to make himself heard.
Fuck you all, you war enableists!
Oh, we're not ready to have hippies.
Go ahead, Jova.
First, I'm going to write about one of the nicest things that has happened to me. At my house, we have a pasture with lots of cows and sheep. One cow had a baby 2 days ago. I helped my daddy by stroking the cow's back with a handful of straw while she was having the baby. That makes the cow warm up, so it's easier for her to give birth. The baby was born just before the sun came up. It was a tiny baby, but it could already stand on its own legs. A baby? Wow! I'm going to take care of this baby until it gets big. Dear little calf, hurry and grow up, okay?
Surprised it didn't go and grow healthy or something.
Live long and prosper.
The general had tears in his eyes.
Oh crap, someone put mushrooms in my eyes again.
Go ahead, Jova.
Now,
continue.
I'm going to write about one of the saddest things that had happened to me. This was my grandma. Well, this is when my grandma got sick and died. She was such a nice grandma. I know her sickness made her feel bad, but she was always smiling when I was around. She let me hold her hand when she died. I watched her face the whole time because I knew I wouldn't be able to see her anymore, and I wanted to remember her, even after I grow up. She just kept smiling and smiling for me right to the very end. That's why she is always smiling when I think of her, when I think of Grandma, up in the sky.
Tears were streaming down the general's face. When the ceremony ended, the general left his village and headed for the town where army headquarters were located. There he wrote a long letter to the king, and he gave his sword to his most trusted lieutenant. The general had decided to retire.
I'm getting too old for this crap.
And this is why that person reminded Kaim of this story.
This was as big a surprise to me as it was to anybody. When I heard that little boy's essay, it occurred to me. What really makes us really human is to celebrate each life that comes into the world and mourn each life that is lost. I didn't need medals anymore. I didn't need the honor of being allowed into the presence of His Majesty anymore. I wanted to be a real human being again. As a result, overnight I went from being the village hero to being reviled as a traitor, the fickle shits.
How dare you retire after, being a hero and protecting us, you idiot. The general turns to face Kaim and asks,
So are you going to mock me as a coward who ran away from the battlefield? Or blame me for being a deserter who betrayed his own patriotism?
Kaim turns a gentle smile on the old man.
Neither.
He says,
As a soldier, you made the wrong decision. As a human being, you made the right one.
The general strokes his white beard and says,
My habit has changed too. Nowadays, I find myself stroking my beard. Yes, that's it, my beard, when I'm embarrassed.
Go ahead, Liz.
Okay, back to work.
Says the general, standing with a grunt. He calls out to his troops.
Alright, men, it's all downhill from here. Let's give it one last push and get back to the village before sunset.
The troops under the general's command consist of 30 sheep, not one of whom is likely to take a person's life.
He became
Seem
a
black
shepherd.
sheep, I know better, thank you, narrator.
Oh god, yeah.
Tell me, Kaim. Finally, I got your name right. Are you planning to go back into battle at some point?
I don't really know.
He replies.
I'm content with herding sheep for now.
The general says.
I don't have the least regret for the decision I made that day. It would make me happy to think this could be a kind of lesson for you.
With this parting remark, the general turns away from Kaim and begins walking. The sheep amble along after him in newly reformed ranks.
Look at that. A unit still of his own.
Staying at attention, the general raises his right arm and waves his troops on.
Forward! March!
The command he had once delivered to tens of thousands of men in the battlefield now echoes pleasantly among the mountains of his native village. The end.
Oh.
That was a pleasant story.
Except for the fucking fickle villagers, fuck those.
Marvel citizens and their finest.
Yep. Like, it's not even like he did nothing, it's just he retired. Holy cow, dudes.
Like they treated it, I guess it was labeled as even treating like he passed on the other side, but holy shit, give the man a break.
Indeed.
Sounds like he was getting pretty old anyway.
Yep, basically.
Whee!
Alright, so in the next part, we'll go to the manor where apparently this quote-unquote sorceress took over the house where Kaim and Sarah used to live in. So I guess we'll have to see exactly what's up with this sorceress, and hopefully we'll be able to get the thing that we need to get to where we need to go. So because we need to cross the cave, but the cave is closed. So we need the sorceress to spell to help us. So I guess we'll see how things go. See ya.
Yeah.
So yeah.